everything always came easy to her.
She's a true prodigy.
She's a firebending prodigy, and everyone adores her.
I don't have sob stories like all of you. I could sit here and complain how our mom liked Zuko more than me, but I don't really care.
I know what you're gonna say. She's my sister and I should be trying to get along with her.
No, she's crazy and she needs to go down.
My own mother
What is wrong with that child?
thought I was a monster.
We must have the same collective thought the first time we saw Azula. She was, without a doubt, one of the most cunning and vicious villains in children's animation. She was a threat for both the Avatar gang and Zuko. She was in fact so menacing that we can get scenes like this.
We need to get help.
But where are we going to go? We're enemies of the Earth Kingdom and fugitives from the Fire Nation.
If the Earth Kingdom discovers us, they'll have us killed.
But if the Fire Nation discovers us, we'll be turned over to Azula.
Earth Kingdom it is.
Every time she appeared on screen, there's no way we can empathize with her. She was cunning, conniving, manipulator, and just purely evil, with no positive traits in her. A one-dimensional antagonist best fit for simple children's animation. Or so we thought.
I guess you wouldn't understand, would you, Azula? Because you're just so perfect.
Well, yes, I guess you're right. I don't have sob stories like all of you. I could sit here and complain how our mom liked Zuko more than me, but I don't really care. My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
Here we can see that her character had much more depth than her ruthless facade.
I guess you're right. I don't have sob stories
We
like all
can
of
see
you.
her vulnerability slip through within her sarcastic confession.
She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
The fierce Azula was actually the most fragile of all. The Avatar series has some of the best character writing in all animated media, especially for the villains. In this video, we will analyze the writing of Azula's character and what kind of archetypes she had. If you don't know what archetype is, an archetype is an emotion, character type, or event that is notably recurrent across the human experience. An archetype creates an immediate sense of familiarity, allowing the audiences to relate to an event or character without having to necessarily ponder why they relate. Thanks to our collective unconscious or instinct and life experience, we are able to recognize archetypes without any need for explanation. For example, the hero's journey is a well-known character archetype. It depicts how the hero ventures into an adventure, overcoming a decisive crisis, and returning home transformed. In literature, there are much more character archetypes beyond this overused example. While some archetypes like the hero's journey are readily applied to the protagonist, it is crucial to remember that any archetype can encompass characters of varying alignment, significance, and narrative weight. By delving into the nuances of Azula's less commonly recognized archetype, we can gain valuable insights to write our own character as good as the Avatar show. First, let's see how her character begins and ends. She comes from a prodigy, but ends up with tragedy of her going down into madness. When I first think of this, I thought she was categorized into the tragic villain archetype because of her tragic ending. But after I've done some research, I was wrong. She actually is a tragic hero. You might be surprised why I call her a tragic hero. But like I said before, an archetype can be applied to both the protagonist or the antagonist, the good or the bad ones, the hero or the villains. So what's the difference between a tragic villain and a tragic hero archetypes? The tragic villains were driven into villainy due to circumstances beyond their own control.
You're my mommy? You're my mommy? So you love me? So you love me? And you'll always take care of me? You'll always take care of me?
In many cases, they can be categorized into the tragic monster trope, when an innocent person transforms into a mindless monster or simply created to be a monster, or turned into a monster by accident. Either way, they have no choice in the evil acts they commit. The best example of these villains are in the Batman's Rogue Gallery, villains such as Mr. Freeze, the Penguin, and Killer Croc. They are shaped to be evil by their circumstances and their surroundings.
My work, the equipment, it's all gone. I can't save you. Maybe there's another way.
Victor, this isn't you. I won't let you destroy yourself anymore. I wish I could have told you sooner.
I don't want you to die, Nora.
Then let me live.
I won't have much time. Days.
Time never has been on our side, Victor.
Tragic heroes, on the other hand, are characters of noble stature, can be both in terms of moral and birth. A tragic hero may possess admirable qualities. They can be successful and overcome obstacles with ease, but they are stricken by a fatal flaw that eventually leads them to their tragic end. The character usually don't realize their own fatal flaw until it was too late. Tragic heroes typically begin their journey from a position of nobility or high social standing. They might be kings, queens, warrior, or influential figures of the community. This elevated status sets the stage for their eventual fall from grace, make their downfall or any dramatic inciting incidents all more impactful. If we look at Azula, she was born as a noble, she was talented and a
True prodigy. Just like her grandfather, for whom she's named.
and as as stylists describe her.
But you're the most beautiful, smartest, perfect girl in the world. Oh, you're right about all those things. But for some reason, when I meet boys, they act as if I'm going to do something horrible to them.
Also, in the Hotman Nation, she was also considered as the hero.
Princess Azula, clever and beautiful, disguised herself as the enemy and entered the Earth Kingdom's capital. Now the heroes have returned home. Your Princess Azula!
But despite all that, we've already known the ending of her tragic story. A tragic hero is not necessarily the protagonist or the good guy. The focus of this character is on their own action and inevitable fall from grace rather than what they do to others. So in other words, a tragic hero is the main character of the tragedy they themselves cause. When the tragic hero antagonist is defeated, the protagonist would feel sympathetic to them and felt bad about having to capture them. This sympathetic feeling that the protagonist, which in turn also made us feel sympathetic, is the purpose of writing a tragic hero. In Poetics, Aristotle suggests that the hero of the tragedy must evoke Phatos, which is a feeling of pity or sorrow and sympathy from the audiences. Despite their flaws and mistakes, the hero's relatable qualities and humanity make them deserving of empathy.
I guess you wouldn't understand, would you, Azula?
The audiences emotionally invest in the hero's journey, creating a deep connection between the reader and the character.
I don't have sob stories like all of you. I could sit here and complain how our mom liked Zuko more than me, but I don't really care.
I failed. No, I loved watching you. That's who you are, Zuko. Someone who keeps fighting even though it's hard.
My own mother thought I was a monster.
Young lady, not another word. What is wrong with that child?
I just said it because I was a little jealous.
While the emotion of fear must be felt by the audiences when they contemplate that such misfortune could possibly befall themselves in similar situations.
But I thought we were going to do this together.
My decision is final.
You can't treat me like this. You can't treat me like Zuko. But it was my idea to burn everything to the ground. I deserve to be by your side.
In the next video, we will explore Azula's character arc that corresponds to what Aristotle believed to be the three pillars of tragic hero: hamartia, peripetia, and anagnorisis. That's all for today's entry. I'm your host Nick, your fellow PhiloFlicks.